Eric Armstead just not being able to work and then having the back injury?
I mean, it's, he's a veteran who, ultimately he'll probably know how to get himself ready to go. I would hope, the key is just making sure that he's healthy and ready to go for the first game, and ultimately it's a long season, as we know. Now, not to say that early ones aren't obviously as important as late ones, but it is a long season, and we're really just trying to, get him to be as healthy as possible.
Do you expect him to be good to go by week 1?
Yeah, I would think so. It's hard for me to say right now, though.
And then last thing on this, there's just with Mason Smith out as well, that kind of creates a little bit of a depth issue, I would imagine. Just what are the challenges you guys are working through?
Yeah, we just signed Austin Johnson, so made a nice play already in the team run today. So, brought in some depth and competition. We'll continue to get those guys some great reps. I felt the D-line a little bit more today, impact, whether it was in the run game or in some of the protection stuff. I just kind of felt more of a presence and a rush. So that was encouraging, right? And it's great to get those guys some reps, but we absolutely need to continue to improve.
Coach Lewis from Pick today.
Yeah.
What's he brought to this defense?
I mean, as you guys see, it's every day something, right? It's every day it's making a play, right? And there's only so much, right, within a scheme that you can teach and coach. Ultimately, they have to go out and make plays. And he just continues to be a steady, consistent professional that communicates at a high level. He brings a calmness to our back end. He brings a playmaker to our back end and a great leader for the guys to be able to continue to listen to back there.
First day of...
Oh, yeah. I mean, the guy, it's every day. I mean, you guys have seen how many diving, either pass breakups or interceptions he's had. I had so much respect for him coming. When we played him in Tampa this year, he made a unbelievable interception that basically sealed the game in their favor, and he's just come here from the moment we sat down and talked to my office till now. It's been exactly what he has said he wanted to do, and what we also wanted from him, from a veteran leader, professional, show some of these guys the way, and he's taken that role on and ran with it.
Evaluate first day of Travis having the penny, going back and forth, and that final team period we didn't see him. Was that just situational?
Just 4 minute stuff. We weren't playing in any 11 personnel, so he's still learning 12 personnel, other positions, so that he can continue to get in right in some of those personnel groupings. Because he plays the F in 11, to go and play the Z in 12 is just, it's just another added learning curve that we need to continue to work on. But I think he'll say he was a little bit more tired than he usually gets. But I thought he still showed up, made some plays across the middle as he's kind of continued to do. And it's just good to get into that habit. As we mentioned, we wanted to get to this point of post-scrimmage, just starting to let them roll in between racks to get them some extra work.
Is this going to be the new normal?
Very similar. It might not be every single day, but I would say it would probably be a little bit more normal than not.
Liam, have you decided how much the starters are going to go on Saturday?
Not yet. We're still working through it. We wanted to kind of get through these next 2 padded days to evaluate, see where we're at as a group. Before making that decision. We've obviously had conversations as a staff and with Tony and James as well, but we're going to let these 2 days play out, see what it looks like, and make a decision from there.
Does it make sense to talk with the other team about ones, or is this just something that... Because it almost feels like it's not a perfect science with 3 games compared to 4.
Yeah, I texted Coach Tomlin last night, so we're touching base today at some point here to just get on the same page, about what they're doing, what we'd like to do ultimately. We'll have to ultimately make that decision tomorrow, but we're going to touch base today. Yeah.
Is that a hard decision as a head coach to figure out?
It is.
Because you want them to play, you want to see them, you see what you got, but you don't want to risk injury, right?
That's right. That is the ultimate debate. It's not. I obviously came from being in LA. It was, your 1s and 2s don't really play, right? And so you're ultimately playing with a lot of younger guys, which is kind of that's the whole selling point in LA is you do that and it helps you get, CFAs and get guys to come in because you're going to get a lot of great quality reps and film. Whereas in Tampa, we played some of the guys and got some quality work. So it's definitely a difficult decision that we've been wrestling back and forth with a little bit, but we'll have a better idea tomorrow.
Finally going against an opponent, just how important is that for you guys in your evaluation process of the whole roster?
Yeah, it's big. We don't know what you have ever, right? You really don't. You have a feel, you know what you're doing against each other, but as we saw even in the scrimmage the other night, we'd be lying if we didn't see some, bright eyes and maybe getting into guys doing some things that maybe they hadn't been doing in practice settings because we were in the stadium and there were some fans there, right? It is different to go through the pregame routine, to get into your routine of getting ready to go play a game, but also, like you mentioned, going and competing against somebody else, especially Pittsburgh, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, plays a little bit of a different structure than we do. They play differently with their D-line than we do in some ways, so it might be great for us to get some of that work.
A couple of injury questions, just Jalen McLeod, kind of his status. I know they said week to week, but...
Yeah, I think he's more week to week than day to day.
Okay.
Yep.
As far as then what that means for that competition at the Sam linebacker, what have you seen from Gardick since he came back?
Yeah, he's still just getting into the swing of things. I think he'll start to probably feel more and more like himself as the next probably week and a half go. I'm excited to see him be able to go and come off the edge and get him some more team reps. He's just a little bit limited in some ways still right now within the team setting. So I'm excited. I'm excited to actually see who can step up. It's a bummer because Jalen was doing some good things in some of the pass rush actually when he was going in 4 down and playing D end and getting some of that stuff going, which is what he did a lot in college. So that's, it's a bummer, but the competition continues.
And then one more, just Wyatt. I feel like Wyatt has played almost every position.
Yeah.
Was that he came to you guys and said that, or
no?
You guys
Yeah, that's our. You guys have kind of seen it since the spring. It's kind of our philosophy is moving guys around. We did it the other night as well. That's something that I thought we did a nice job in LA when Aaron Cromer was our offensive line coach. It was constant moving guys around. You ultimately want to make sure you set your groups as close to game as you can to have the time, right? Where you can have a little bit more time to work. But it's great because you just don't know, especially at the O-line guys, right? It's when you don't have depth or guys have experience playing specific positions and a pinch happens, it is the worst feeling in the world. And so I went through it in 2022, and we had 13 different starting O-lines, which was an NFL record, not a record you want to be known for. Yeah. So since that, we have just really tried to make such a conscious effort of adding depth in there while also cross-training.
Coach, what are you looking for specifically in these next couple of practices before Pittsburgh rolls into town?
Less penalties. It was great. We got Alex Kemp out here, a great, referee crew out here that did a great job. We met with them as a staff at 7 a.m. this morning. They will meet with our players, this afternoon. They'll also meet with the rookies and explain some of the rule changes from college to pro this evening. And so we are making a conscious effort, and the league is making a conscious effort at detailing formations, alignments, assignments, and motions is a huge part of the rules this year. The 2 men in motion, illegal formation, shaving the line of scrimmage, it all showed up today. All the things that they are trying to emphasize. So long-winded way of answering your question, I'd like a little bit more discipline.
A couple more real quickies. Coach Gruden and Coach Coughlin both here this week. What's it like just having those guys around and able to pick the brain?
Yeah, really cool. Those guys, Coach Coughlin, I grew up, a Patriots fan, so broke my heart a few times. And, Victor Cruz being my college roommate, obviously very close with Coach Coughlin. And, he's been such a support for me since I've been able to have the opportunity to take this job and live here. And then Coach Gruden and I were neighbors in Tampa, so we lived in the same neighborhood. And so that was great. I actually ran into him a few times last year in Tampa, and right before I actually got hired here, I ran into him, and we were having a conversation about that. So it's great to have him here. We're talking some ball. I mean, there is a lot of the evolution of our offense comes from him in so many ways, right? When Sean was with him in Tampa, Sean was in Washington with his brother, and there's a lot of similarities. It's pretty cool.
Last one.
Walker Little has been consistent now at left tackle as opposed to other training camps where he's really moved around a lot. Just kind of speaking to him, he says it's nice to be consistent and feel like he can really grow in that position. What have you seen out of him?
Yeah, I think his run blocking has improved, I think, a lot since last year. Coming off the rock, finishing better. I think he'll also be, the first one to tell you he's got to, work a little bit more on some of the pass pro in terms of just, timing up his hands, using his length, to his, to his best abilities, because he does have some length. He's a long dude that is athletic as well, so needs to continue to improve. But I've been pleased with, like you mentioned, some of the consistencies, and those guys had been. I thought today was probably our worst day in a while up front in some ways, or just as an offense executing the run game. But in some of the pass protection I was not pleased with as a group, whether it was the ball not coming out on time, not getting open on time, or not protecting well enough. But I think they had been playing with some confidence as well.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
For the offensive line, for the offense as a whole, in a couple days, how would you evaluate maybe where the struggles came from?
Today was definitely one of our worst days as an offense, and even speaking just personally, I felt like I just, maybe didn't see it as great today. I just felt like we were moving a little slow, coming off the off day, just need to bring a little bit more juice next time, and just, one play at a time. Just takes one play to kind of get you back going, and I think we could have brought a little bit more energy, a little sluggish today coming in. So we'll watch the tape though and see what it was. There was a lot of stuff just kind of everywhere. There was penalties, there was some missed assignments, there was a couple bad reads by me. There was just a little bit of everything. So we'll have to watch it and see. It's practice. You'd rather it happen out here and learn from it, and we're not playing yet, so we got some time to fix it, but we need to address the issues and kind of learn from them.
Do you expect to play Saturday? Do you want to play?
Yeah, yes, I'm expecting to play, preparing myself to play. Not sure exactly what the plan is yet. I think we're still evaluating some stuff, but I'm ready to go if so. Be excited to get back out there. It's been a while, so anytime you can play, even in preseason, it means something to get on that field. So I'll be ready to go if that's the case, and if not, the other guys will be ready to roll.
Going through it the last few years, how much does playing in the preseason kind of help you get ready for week one?
I think it does help, just from the standpoint, especially as a quarterback, you can get hit. It's, all off season and all training camp, you can't get hit. So sometimes there's a different time clock in the pocket. You try to always play it real in practice, but sometimes you kind of hang on to the ball and take a little bit more chances in the pocket because there's no consequences. But when you're live, it's a little different. So it's nice to feel the time clock sped up, to feel the communication with the whole offense, with the offensive line, protection, just live full speed reps. I think it is valuable. I think you got to be smart too, though, as far as how much you play and all that stuff. That's for coach and all them to figure out, and for us just to do our job. So I do think there's value though.
The offense looked comfortable during the scrimmage. How did you come out from that? What did you sort of think of the offense and then your own performance?
Yeah, I thought we operated really, really smoothly. I think it was still left a couple plays out there. That's always going to be the case, probably. Not going to play perfect, but I feel like there was a couple plays I definitely left out there. But I think as just an offense overall, we operated clean, not a ton of penalties. Just having the call it mentality, move the ball, playing situational football, that's fun. In practice, you play situations, but they're all in blocks, so sometimes it doesn't always feel like a game because of the flow is just different. So it was nice having the clock moving. Every play is spotted about where it would have gone down. You play every second along, third and short, third and medium. You play all the situations. We got a 2-minute drive in. All those things, it feels a little bit more realistic as far as the game flow. So I thought that was really good, and some stuff to build off of.
Maybe putting today aside, how do you feel about your camp overall?
I think I've made some huge strides from the spring as far as just the system and being comfortable playing fast, getting through progressions, letting it rip, especially across the middle and anticipating some throws. I think it's been a lot better than the spring. So, I think going into today, I was pleased with just my progress. Not necessarily overall performance, but just I felt like I was really just playing better every day, and I think that's what you want to do. And today, obviously, had a little bit of a rougher day, so we'll have to watch it and just learn from it. And it's the same thing, even if you don't perform how you want to, you got to learn from it. So just taking all the coaching points and all the stuff I can from each day and trying to make the corrections the next day and play better.
Is some of that progress footwork becoming more natural?
For sure. Footwork becoming more natural, tying my feet with my eyes, and then just seeing the concepts, because I've seen them now 3 or 4 times installed, and you feel more comfortable. You know what the backside's going to look like, you know what gets you off the front side, and you kind of just play a little bit quicker. But there's still some of that muscle memory that sets in from some of my old footwork and drops and stuff that I just have to continuously just work and in Indy and in team drills, and while we're in practice and it's not live bullets flying, this is the time to fix it. And we've made some good progress, and but there's a lot more work to do.
How big of a jump can this team make just from maybe getting rid of the dysfunction of last year? We saw it from 21 to 22. It was a pretty big jump, just by getting rid of dysfunction.
I think that's a hard question to answer, to put a specific measure on it. I think that this can be a really good team. I think we're talented. Our schemes are really good. We're well coached. We're still getting better and dialing in on the details, and we need to play cleaner and be better operationally and just gel more as units. But I really think, not to be cliche, the sky is the limit for this team. I mean, I think, like I said, we're talented, we're well coached, we got a good scheme. You can't speak on the results because we have to go out and do it and we have to perform, but I really feel confident that we'll be prepared come September, whatever, is the first game, and we'll be ready to play. And we got a lot of work to do until then, though. The camp's a long time.
The things happening behind the scenes in the building, that affects what happens on the field. Is that safe to say that we've seen that?
Yeah, I mean, there's always things that, in the NFL, it's a crazy business. There's always things going on all the time. So you try to compartmentalize and do your job and ignore everything else. And at times, when the bigger the distraction, the harder it becomes, but you still have a job to do. And that's the challenge we're all faced with, is to do your job despite everything happening around you. And sometimes it's easier than others, but that's our job, and we got to do it.
What have you seen from the 3 rookie running backs?
They've been awesome. I think all 3 of them have had days and spurts where they've played really well, and then also as rookies, learning the system isn't easy, and they've done a nice job in the protections and knowing what to do and who to pick up, and but they've all made plays, running the ball or out of the backfield catching it, making plays down the field. They've all had their plays. So we got a lot of options, a lot of great options. A lot of them are young. So we got some juice in the backfield, which I'm excited about.
Trevor, for the short time you're going to be out there on Saturday or whatever time they're going to give you, what do you want to see out of yourself, and what do you want to see out of the offense against Pittsburgh?
Just to play clean, no penalties, operation, in and out of the huddle quick, get up to the line, communicate, just play clean ball and execute whatever's there. Obviously the plan, not as much game planning when you're talking about preseason games, so not sure exactly the plan as far as what we're going to do, but whatever it is, it's stuff we've done all training camp, I'm sure. So just execution at a high level.
Because he also, Coach Coen mentioned the penalties even today.
Yeah, just clean up that stuff. It's the stuff you can control, right? This game's hard enough playing against all these great players, these great teams, and when you beat yourself with pre-snap penalties and not lining up right, or little stuff, maybe it's a can that I go the wrong way on because I didn't see it right or whatever, that's stuff that you can control. So if we can be damn near close to 100% on those, it's just going to put us in position to make more plays and to be more successful when the ball is snapped.
Friday night was the best combination yet with you and Brian Thomas Jr. Frustration a little bit on Sunday and before that. Where are you right now with Brian?
Yeah, this is something where timing with receivers is so important. Chemistry, that connection, all that stuff, and then when you change offenses, it kind of resets a little bit because there's new routes and there is some carryover for sure. Everyone does similar things, but just the communication and talking. I think we've made some big steps since the spring, and you got to think too, we didn't get to play a full season together, so we've been trying to build that and be just in lockstep and always know each other's thinking. And when we get those one-on-ones, making all those plays, giving them opportunities, always giving them a chance to get his hand on the ball. And there has been some frustration, I think, from both of us, and just offensively, because there's been some where, I might miss a throw, I might not make a contested catch, maybe they push coverage to them, and there is days where it's a little frustrating, and that's stuff you work through in practice. And we both expect a lot out of each other, and I think that's the cool thing about our relationship is we expect to make all those plays. So it's frustrating when you don't, and like I said, we just got to keep working it and he's such a great player. You just keep giving him all the opportunities and putting the ball somewhere where he can get it, and always giving him a chance is really important.
What have you seen from Britton Strange? It seems like he's really come on for the last 10 practices.
Yeah, I think just the same thing, more comfortable in the offense, playing faster, understanding what we're doing. And that's for all of us. Me seeing him quicker, getting the ball to him in some different scenarios where maybe in the spring I was not dishing it to him and getting backside or doing whatever. I think getting more comfortable seeing him in different spots in this scheme and knowing what to expect, how he's going to run certain routes. And I love Britton, man. I've always loved how he plays really hard. He's a really good blocker, and then what he can do in space too. He doesn't get enough credit for how good of a route runner he is, and very physical, great after the catch. So he's going to be a problem for us.
I was going to say, are you seeing more from him this year? Now that he is being thrust sort of more in that receiving role.
Yeah, I think just given more opportunities, so you see more. Before, we had Evan, and Evan had been here and been very productive, and he's an older veteran player. And Britton's kind of behind him, learning from him, and so he just didn't get the same amount of opportunities. And now he's looked at as the guy, the matchup at tight end, to go make plays in the passing game, and he does a great job, especially what all he's asked to do between that and the run game. Tight end is a crazy position. Those guys they're beasts, physical, and then they go run 50 yards down the field, then come back, and then block a D end. It's hard to do, and he's done it at a high level.
I know you see it every day in practice, but just since nobody else does it, how excited are you to see Travis in the game setting? Just what it kind of looks like.
Really excited. I mean, if Friday was a glimpse of it, I'm pretty, or we should all be excited to see him running around out there, wherever it's at on offense, defense, hopefully more offense. Throw one in there for us there. But just the way he plays, the energy he plays with, even just little things like interacting with the fans and just the juice he brings into the stadium, like that stuff does mean something, and not everyone necessarily has that personality, but he has something about him that's just, I don't know, it's just special, the way the energy he brings and the energy he plays with and the joy and all that stuff, the way he runs around, like it's fun to watch, and it's fun to play with a guy like that. And I think he's starting to play a lot faster now that he knows the system and can play free.
What do you think of the penny? Did I have him having the penny on?
Yeah, it was interesting seeing him run. Yeah. He played corner one snap and then came back and had to run like a jet sweep motion. So we've talked about how good a shape he's in, but it's funny just seeing him back and forth. It's pretty crazy. Never seen anything like it. Awesome.